Weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes in holy dread, for he on honey-dew hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise. This is famously supposed to be only a pause in what was meant to be a more expansive poem, but legend tells that an interruption, a visitor from Porlock, it's oddly specific, isn't it, came to see Coleridge as he was writing, and he lost the sense of what he wanted to write for that poem forever and was never able to reclaim it. Whether or not there really was a person from Porlock, whether this story is apocryphal or allegorical or literal, is not really what matters. What matters is that it describes something that Coleridge felt he needed to express, which is a sense that a poet can know with certainty what they need to do, what they need to write, the words that lie ahead of them, but that path can be snatched away from them, that they can lose their ability to follow the line that they just moments ago or under other circumstances could visualize with clarity and certainty. I was thinking about how when T.S. Eliot wrote his love song, he decided to call his protagonist Prufrock, which is a made-up name. And Eliot he loved his literary allusions. He loved to make reference to things that he counted on his very literate audience responding to. I don't think it could possibly be by chance that he chose a sonic chime like that. I think he called him J. Alfred Prufrock because he wanted the idea of the visitor from Porlock to rest in the mind of his readers. And if you think about what happens to Prufrock when he starts hearing the mermaids singing, that's not his problem. He doesn't run into difficulty when he's being drawn towards the ocean by these mystical, poetic voices. No, he lives in the chambers under the ocean while he's hearing them sing. It's when human voices wake us that we drown. So once again, his stand-in persona loses his way, loses his ability to communicate with his muse only when the mundane world interrupts. So the danger isn't the sirens, the danger is the ordinary humans who interrupt and bother you. I can see a line drawn from this through to Joyce and his Dubliners, and the piece on in the Dubliners entitled Araby, about a little boy who goes to what were some very famous and exotic markets in Dublin, called Araby because they really were meant to represent that that place of stories, the exotic, the desirable, the intangible, and the very inappropriate to urban Dublin. And the little boy believes that getting there will be his path to becoming what he wants to be, someone more grown up, someone who can win the attention of the one girl on his street. But of course, these stories are always about breaking and failure and not managing to reach that place. And the little boy in this story, he doesn't have the certainty of Coleridge or Prufrock when he's following the path of the exotic, but he does feel that he needs to go that way to find the magic item, which he fails to do. But Joyce is actually just a stepping stone for me here, a stone that links up the chain that runs from Coleridge and his person from Porlock to Prufrock, to Araby, and thence to Dylan Thomas's short stories. And we've got to recall, of course, that this set is called Portrait of the Artist as a Young Dog, so there is a little Joycean nod going on there. But there is the very last story in this set of stories, which I don't read very often because they make me cry a lot. I do a lot of crying when I read Dylan Thomas, I may as well be honest with you there. But the final story is called One Warm Saturday, and it's a terribly frustrating, despairing, tragic tale, dreamlike tale of a young man who meets a girl, falls instantly in love, meeting her while away on a day trip to the beach. So again, we've got overtones of J. Alfred Prufrock there as well. He's a similar type of man. He's just having a quiet day away of leisure at the seaside, but he happens to meet this girl, and he goes back to her boarding house, and all he does is leave the room to go to the toilet, and then he can't find his way back again. And for me, this echoes very accurately with the way that dreams work, where you have an object and you put it somewhere, and then when you go back for it, it's just not there. And it doesn't matter that that subscribes to no logical principle. It's just not going to be there because that's what a dream is like. And the protagonist in One Warm Saturday experiences something very similar. He runs up and down the corridors of this boarding house, waking people, looking for this girl that is just never going to be there again. And following that line from Coleridge through Eliot, through Joyce, all the way to One Warm Saturday, my belief is that what Thomas was doing here was not trying to describe a romance or trying to describe a dream, but trying to describe the experience of being a writer. I think in all these situations, we're seeing allegories for what it feels like to at some point have known with crystal clarity what needed to be put down, and yet to have that certainty melt away from you when you actually sit down to write. Dylan Thomas always finds ways to write simple sadness that is heartrending for its simplicity, but in this case, yeah, my theory is that he is particularly trying to tell us something about what it felt like for him to be a writer.